Okay,
Probably mid-month, okay.
that's funny. 2.14, I don't even know where we would be on counter proposal to your counter proposal. We just want to just leave everything as is and adopt this last paragraph, or the changes that you added, the policy, the numbers.
I can agree to that if you strike sex.
Our thinking on this, I'll give this,
Okay, so,
and in our discussion, in the back part, you're saying that we still have to review some of these.
Absolutely.
Right, so,
We're gonna have to edit some
So-
of this, to be honest. Yeah.
right.
yeah.
So if we're gonna edit that, what if we wait and see what comes out of the edits before we strike that?
Because
That's
I
our
know
thought.
sex has to be struck associated with the human sexuality and the video requirement. I'm doing this as much to keep you guys out of trouble as us out of trouble.
I agree.
I mean,
But
I don't.
you understand
I
what?
do, totally. I told you when I presented it, I didn't like it either, but. Doesn't mean it won't be different next year when they change the law again.
Yeah.
That's why we're thinking, just wait till the law, till you get.
They change it every year, because we
Oh,
have to
I
change
know.
it every year.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll agree to the additions of the other policies, and then we'll come back to that. I would say to the word sex, not to sex.
Did anybody
a
have that on
TLC
their
song.
bingo card? Yeah.
TLC song.
Nobody had, well, nobody had the definition of human sexuality
No.
that I read
It was a
on their
90s
business
song?
card either.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You gave us 4 proposals on financial issues.
Yes, including the salary schedule.
Right. I am going to start with parenting leave.
Okay, so that was number 9.
That was number 9. Sorry, I just.
No, you're fine.
I'm starting with 2, and then
I
I'm gonna
just
come
have
to
to-
2. I'll start with the 2 that you'll be less than pleased with, and then I'll go to the 2
Yeah,
other
fine.
2. Okay. Based upon what you had put in your proposal 10B on the salary schedule, on the average of 70,805 per teacher. Every time somebody takes 10 days on this, it's $3,700 per person, and that includes somebody who's in their first week with the district. So at this point in time, it's just, I'm gonna have to respectfully decline that, because the money, the limited, you know as well as I do, money this year is not what the press might say it was, and I would rather use that money somewhere else.
Can you tell me that number again?
It was
3,700,
about 3,700, and that was lawyer math,
if you were to do the 10,
if you were to use his. And
Per
I- yeah,
person?
Per person,
For
Okay.
10
for
days?
10 days.
using the one that we submitted.
Correct, using
Okay.
10B.
Right.
And like I said, that's just an average, because you don't know who's actually gonna take it, where they're gonna be on the schedule, et
Absolutely.
cetera.
Correct.
I know who it won't be. It won't be me.
Okay, I don't think that was on the card either.
No.
All right, special ed. Again, that's gonna, I'm gonna respectfully decline that one, and I'm gonna give you the thought process behind some of this. All ERR and DLP teachers are already getting a leadership stipend of $1,500. Maintenance of effort in the district, so that is the money that the district spends on special ed that is not otherwise paid for by special ed, Title 6B, I guess would be the way to phrase that best, is already $9 million. That creates a limitation on how the district can spend those funds. So once you spend it under maintenance of effort, by the name, maintenance of effort, we have to keep spending that. The proposal, again, and I based it off of your 70,000, because we have 73 special ed teachers. Using your proposal of a 7.5% increase on that 70,000, whatever number average, again, lawyer math, takes them to 76,115, which is an increase of $6,115 times 73 teachers. That is $446,395, $450,000. So off the top, we're taking that off of what could go on the salary schedule, and you're increasing the maintenance of effort for what the district could ever use that money for again. The district does have a PAC program with ISU, where paras are getting special ed teaching degrees. which has created some wonderful things, not only for the employees, but also for the special ed. And there isn't the same kind of shortage that there previously was. I do appreciate and respect the work they do. I could not do it. But the amounts. The other thing that I wanted, I'll have Brenda explain to you. This is the list of the changes that have occurred in the special ed program in the last year and a half to improve special ed, improve the work for special ed teachers, the assistance they get, et cetera. So this is already coming out of and has already increased what the district is expending on it. And you had mentioned that Medicaid billing, and I'm sure that's what's paying for a lot of this. Explain the staff numbers on this, because, I mean, I can add it all up, but you know who these people are and what they're doing.
Well, I just think this is really interesting, and I guess maybe this is a great venue to really compliment Janelle Harris and the work that she's done in special education. I know, and I speak from experience of having a husband who was the special ed director and the stress of that job, right? And how those numbers have increased. As we know, our special ed count is at 1,993 students. In November, it was 1,485. But what Janelle's done with special education has been pretty remarkable. I just wanted just a list from last year to now. She's added a teacher at Lincoln, 2 paras, Green Acres, a teacher in paras, Wilcox a para, Irving a para, Hawthorne, 2 teachers, 5 paras, Century, 2 teachers, 7.5 paras, Pocatello High School, 2 new full programs and 8 paras. At Tyhee, she's added a full-time teacher. New Horizons, a full-time teacher. Ellis, a habilitative skills para. Gate City and Idaho, a new skills para. A new nurse, 2 new psychologists, a new Medicaid billing clerk, and a prevention specialist who supports ARCHES in the elementary programs. I can speak from experience again. To get one special education teacher back in the day was difficult, was an understatement, right? These things are nothing short of the hard work that these teachers and these paras are putting into their billing. So we've also moved them up. They had started at a level 3 and a level 4, and now they can go anywhere from a level 5 through a level 8 on the pay scale. Our elementaries, a lot of our elementaries don't see kids on Mondays, and so they have that time frame. And Janelle also, she's really working, I'll be honest with you, she has asked the superintendent and I, as she continues this Medicaid billing trajectory, she feels like she has the elementaries in a pretty good place as far as the regular resource room, and her goals are middle school and high school. And I just think from her track record, from what she's done in the last year and a half, I think that she will continue to do that work. That being said, these new teachers are coming out of all of that billing that's coming in, and I'm just impressed in a year and a half that we can have this many additional people in special education.
Proposal 8.
Oh, wait.
Oh, sorry.
I'd like to comment on that. So I, of course, and everyone knows, everyone who knows me knows I am completely supportive of special ed. You know it, we've talked about it. I had a child who went through the program. If it had not, and I say this every time I go to Pokey, if she had not gone to Pokey and had the sped teacher she had, she wouldn't have graduated high school. She wouldn't be a CNA para educator in District 93. My own daughter was a sped teacher in District 93. And I accept that all that is great. That is wonderful. But what do I tell this teacher who has 75 hours of IEP work on top of teaching 114 students, who is not getting a $1,500 stipend?
Is quite frankly the prioritization of the money. I don't disagree with you at all that what they do is God's work, let's be honest. I'm trying to make sure, as you know, this year, units are down, discretionary funds are down from the state. They really didn't give us 5%. So I'm trying to put together a package that hits those financial limits that we have, At the same time, addressing, yes, there will be raises in the schedule itself. That extra almost $500,000 is on top of the 2.934 million that you were proposing on new money. So we're already at 3.3 and a half. That just simply is not new money that the district has. I wish they did have it.
So, go ahead.
Instead of a percentage, and if we could address those, as she pointed out, that aren't getting the 1,500, would there be availability of discussion of a $500 stipend? Or something to add to that?
You can feel free to propose that across the table. I don't control what you propose, and
Right, but I'm
that's
just saying
obviously-
that as a thought, instead of a percentage, that percentage, then you can do your easier calculations,
I'm
and if we do
gonna,
have the
that is true,
1,500.
and I'm gonna tell you we're looking at it as the package total.
Sure,
So if you're proposing, say, just the hypothetical $500 per, that's gonna be 150,000 less, whatever, 73, I can't.
depends on who doesn't
Right.
have a stipend,
Right.
or whatever, the 1,500.
That's gonna be less, that's gonna come off of, right. Is the, I mean, the number.
I'm just saying that.
The
that
number
if we're
put
talking-
across in
Oh,
this,
yeah.
you know well that there was
Yeah.
not 3 million new money. I wish there was. So that almost takes it to 3.5 million new money. So, now that,
And I guess, just so that we remember there too, is that it's, the whole leadership premium piece, you know, is not reimbursed by the state, and that's over $500,000 for our district.
Right, correct.
So what is the district going to do if these teachers then stop working off contract time?
well, one, I know they won't because they're good people and they're good teachers.
Exactly, so the district
And I-
is,
I also know that they're a professional employee under the Fair Labor Standards Act. And they will do what it takes to get the job done, which is what federal law addresses. That is why the one-day paperwork day was added, because it was a recognition that the paperwork wasn't getting done. Now, if, I did take a look at your chart, and I will admit, again, lawyer math. When I looked at, and I just started with the elementary, that was a total of 7.5 hours, not included in contract time. The way I read that, that's a total of 7.5 hours of non-contract time for 16 people. Divided by 16, that's a half hour.
well, that is just the number who responded to me.
I
So,
understand that, but of
and-
the 16 that responded to you, it's a half hour.
Right. And elementary is a really difficult one because those teachers, while they do still have to teach those, they pull out kids to teach the skills that they're deficient in. And you said they do get Mondays where they don't have kids, so they can use.
Some
or
schools,
Some
yeah.
schools, and some, you know, all of that. So yeah, I think elementary is, it's not my area of speciality. I just, within 2 years, was able to go on a field trip with third graders, so, you know. But
I
I'm
have to
looking,
ask, where did you go?
we went to Idaho Falls. So we look at, you know, I'm looking at the middle school and the high school, and I have a high school teacher who has, you know, her caseload, and then she has 3 different preps to teach throughout that day. And-
Philosophically, I think we are all in agreement. The problem is the limited resource total amount and trying to allocate that as best I can across to impact as many people as possible, at the same time, not impacting that maintenance of effort any further. I don't disagree, your special ed numbers have done something very unusual in the last couple months, and I'd love to know why. It's really kind of unusual. You can feel free to reject and feel free to counter-propose something new. I don't have a problem with that.
I
You know that.
reject your rejection.
Oh, there you go. Oh, I love
Double
it.
negative.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's math.
That's right.
That's
Look at you,
math.
I'm
That's a
proud of you.
positive.
That's also English.
okay, there you go. All right.
Okay.
Next one is, somehow
Oh,
I
I
lost
didn't
it.
give you enough of.
Nope, I have one here. Okay, you're getting the goldenrod back. I just wrote on this because it's a counter, and the counter is just some language,
Oh, okay.
changing and changing and off-contract time, curriculum work 2, and pre-approved off-contract time.
Because not everything they do is curriculum
Okay,
work.
That's fair.
well, yeah,
Broader-
and
it's a
that's,
broader coverage.
Right.
like I said, I was trying to find it somewhere.
Oh,
and
yeah,
so-
because you were talking about the
Perfect.
curriculum handbook, and I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Now, I just wanted to get you some facts, because we were trying to give the math man over here facts. Currently this year, based upon the numbers that it's been used to date, and this year's rates of the 30 and the 22, $123,000 has been expended. Just using this year's numbers to where we are today, going from the 22 to 30 is about $9,500. So that is why that is the only proposal change on there. Yeah, I don't think we're all gonna, yeah. And you know Jonathan likes color, right? He makes a pretty salary schedule. All right, the 10B. All right. As I chatted just about, briefly, the new money at 2.934 was a sticking point. I have no doubt you expected me to say that too. So what we have put forward here before you is a 2% increase with the breakdown throughout. Now, there's a few things I do want to point out. You have the minimums are in the bold in the BA only, so you've got the 5252, the 53402, and then you have the 64427. I do want you to note from that first BA 6, where that minimum hits, 6 through 10 stays at that dollar figure. Realistically, they probably aren't a whole lot of them there. They should be moving.
They're still getting the biggest raise.
Yeah, they're still getting the biggest raise, yes.
The reason on yours there, Mike, that they were all getting $9,000 raises down there, so BA 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we thought, okay, they're still, because of those minimums, they're still getting, the highest of everyone on that scale, even as they're, say, all the same amount.
And as you'll see, what color would you call that, salmon? Sure. Okay, the salmon charts on the side are the increments with movement only and the down only, and then the value of the movement, so that you can correspond that when you look at the schedule. It didn't get fancy with the one-step, the 1015, the 2205, the circle up here, just flat. Go ahead.
Yep. There were a couple cells that we had to adjust just, slightly to get to that, 2% there. So it's not 100% across the board there, but at least that's the minimum there as you kind of look through there.
Okay.
So, and then new money, it's slightly under $2 million. So it's, and I think you had 2.9, so we're 2/3 the way to where you were at.
And so you don't have an issue with somebody who's gonna go from P5 to P6 with that jump?
So sure, but it's just,
Well, I know, but that's why I didn't want that to be such, and that's why we had that discussion about that.
Sure.
Kind of work into that.
and I understand your point there. I guess that's when they do make that jump, hopefully to the AP rung, that's what they would, that would get.
Okay.
If you look
So-
at their movement, just even from, even at 10, at 64,427, and from this year's, if you look at their raise, they're still at over 8%.
So
I know what you're saying. I'm
Right,
going
but
from
he-
P5 to P6,
Yeah,
but I
that's
see
what he
your
means, that's what he's
percentage. I see
saying,
what you're
yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying still at that. And, a lot of those people have, most of their credits, there's not oodles of people that are on those lanes just based on, our number of teachers.
correct in our scattergram. So I know you have to think about that. Any questions or anything? You can go.
No, I think let me go think.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
that sounds good.
so she's gonna think about, and you're gonna think about money. I mean, Joe.
We're gonna think about TLC.
At least we didn't do the whole version.
Your face, at
me
night,
tell ya.
at night, your face. Oh,
Let's talk about